Wholesale bullet jewelry coming at you right now. I'm Sonia, I'm the sales manager for Wholesale Bullet Jewelry.
And I'm David, I'm the production manager. I'm the one that does all the actual cutting and manages the shop, while she manages the girls in the office and does all of the production. So today we're going to talk about the 9mm slice. We're kind of doing a bullet clinic right now, and we're going to go through, so check out our other videos too. Click on the link, absolutely hit the subscribe so you can check out all of our new videos. Hit the thumbs up for us.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely. But click on the list. We'll have in the description there'll be a list of the other videos for the other different sizes. But this video here is specifically for the 9mm bullet jewelry slice. So if you're looking to make bullet jewelry with a 9mm, this is the video for you. We are going to literally tell you everything you've ever wanted to know and then some about the 9mm slice. So if you want to zoom in right here, we have a bunch of 9mm all on this tray here, and these are all nickel plated. And what I'm going to do for you here, they start out, here's a 9mm. That's a dirty one. As you can see, there's a lot of gunpowder residue and everything on it. And this one right here has actually been deprimed. So normally this is a 40, which is slightly larger. But that one has the primer in it, where the 9 here has been deprimed. The first step we always do in cutting bullets, absolutely number one, is to remove the primer. The problem is sometimes the primer can have live gunpowder in it. And where there's no gunpowder in the end, and that's obvious, if the primer has gunpowder, it's very possible it will explode on you, and it does hurt. Trust me, it hurts. So back to where we're at here. The 9mm we get are some of the harder ones that we find. We get them from shooting ranges, and we pay a little bit extra to get ones that are pre-sorted so they're all nickel. It just saves us a lot of time in the long run. So on this tray here, and we haven't really had a good source in the last couple of years for getting pre-sorted. There's some police departments that'll shoot only one type of ammunition, and when you get it from them, then you have an opportunity to get all Winchester or all Spear. For a while we were getting Spear from a certain police department in the Nevada state that has a lot of gambling, but I won't mention any names. So for a while we were getting a lot of Spear from them, but we haven't been able to get that for quite some time. So anyway, so back to what I'm talking about here. If you want to come and zoom real close here, I got the caliper out so we can get you some actual dimensions. So I'm just picking a random slice on here, and a 9mm is coming in at 0.38 inches or 9.6mm. Now, why is it more than 9mm? That's a very good question. Well, because the bullet is a 9mm, and if you look at the casing and the way the flange and everything sits on the end there, it's gonna increase the size just slightly because the bullet has to fit inside of the casing. So that's the reason for that. Now the thickness is, and I will put these dimensions in the description too of the video so you don't have to jot down this as we go. You can see this one right here is 2mm thick. I'm just gonna do a few here. That one is 2, so that's 2/1000ths off, which is pretty good. That is 1.88. I'm just grabbing randomly pieces here. 1.9. There is a range, and a lot of this has to do with the fact that different calipers, or not different calipers, I'm sorry, the different head stamps and different manufacturers of them. But you kind of get an idea there. So that's the dimensions of it. Now, people always ask me, well, do I do 9s? Do I do 40s? What do I do? Well, I always say the 9s are what criminals shoot, and the 40s are what the police shoot. Now, I know I'm going to get a lot of comments on this about disagreement with that, because I'm absolutely generalizing. Please understand, there are police that shoot 9s, and there are criminals that shoot 40s, and there's everything in between. But in general, that's kind of the overwhelming trend, and that's kind of what I like to say. So if you're absolutely new to firing, that's kind of, it's a good conversation piece. So as you're selling jewelry, you can say, well, the 9s are what the criminals shoot. So anyway, so these are all the nickel. Again, we do carry brass on our website. We do not at this time carry any of the primer in the 9s, and there's a reason for this. It's just they're very, very difficult to put in these, and it's just very, they don't look as perfect as the 38s and the 40s that we do sell with the primer in. So because of that, we only want to sell you the best product, and because of that, we do not carry those at this time. The 9s, interestingly enough, are one of our fastest ones to cut. Our machine does them about 600 pieces an hour on these, which is faster than some of our other ones. The reason for that is because of the size and our loading capability. It all has to deal with the way we preload them into the machine. These we're able to get a few more into because of the smaller size. So that is about all I think I have to say about the actual the bullet slices. I'm going to do another video here in a little bit about kind of an updated. I did one 4 years ago about how to cut bullet slices, and I had a lot of views and everything on that. So I'm going to do an updated one on that too today. So if you want to, again, click on our items or on the description, and I'll have links to other videos too. But just to give you an idea of what's going on. Now Sonia is going to go over and take over from this point and talk about the rest of actually making bullet jewelry from the 9mm.
Yep, we're going to actually talk about bezels. I know we've gotten a lot of questions here in the jewelry production angle. We've gotten a lot of people asking us, well, what bezels do I use? Actually, it's pretty much on a daily, multiple time daily process where people are asking us, well, what kind of bezels do I use? What crystal sizes do I use? Here's just an assortment. These are just assorted colors that we just have randomly overstocked here. These are our standard size, which we actually use in our 9s, our 38s, our 40s, some of the smaller primer holes on the 45s and the 357 mags. This is the 5.36mm Swarovski Crystals.
Can you pop one in for us?
Yeah. So here's just our standard 9mm, and we're just, here, I'll take a color that kind of stands out a little bit. And I'll just put it right there in the center. Like, based on the actual bullet casing itself, some of the slices, like as David showed you, some of the slices are thicker, some of them are thinner. It's all based. They sit all primarily pretty center pretty well. And you're also going to have the gapping between the actual bullet slice and the bezel itself. So then the crystal will actually sit in perfectly as well. For the 9mm, we have 3.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I just want to point out, when you glue it, and when you look at the video here, it looks like they're off-centered a little bit. Right. When you glue it, it centers up very easily.
It does.
When they're in there loose, it's a little different.
Right. And the glue will actually create that cushion that goes all the way around what was the primer. It actually will cushion around the primer hole and allow the crystal, the pointed back of the crystal, to sit in perfectly. Now, so here we have, as you know, on our website, we have 10mm gold bezels, we have the bronze bezels, we have the antique silver, we have the polished silver, we have the gunmetal, we also have the sterling silver bezels as well. Here I'm just showing you the 3 most popular, which are the antique silver bezel connector in the 10mm, the antique silver 10mm bezel, which only has the 1 loop, as you can see the difference. This one is great if you're connecting earring pieces, or if you're adding a charm for a pendant, or this is what we use for our deer charm earrings, FYI. And then these are also great that if you wanted to add a jump ring, you could connect a whole bunch of them and make a beautiful, stunning bracelet. That's another great idea too. And then this is our polished silver 10mm. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set these in here so you can actually see what they look like. Here, this one is sitting in the polished silver. A lot of people say, well, it doesn't fit all the way. It won't. This is a 10mm bezel, which means that there is going to be a little minute gapping between the casing itself and the rimming of your bullet slice.
Or 0.35mm.
Yeah.
No, 0.035.
Right. If you really want to get technical.
Yeah. Well, because we had the caliper on earlier, so.
And then here is what it looks like on the 10mm antique. Now, you're going to say to me, well, you're going to ask, which we actually do get questions like this, well, what's the difference between the polished silver and the 10mm antique bezel? The answer is there is rimming. There is a cup-like rimming, so it's a higher wall on the polished silver, the gold, and the gunmetal. And then for the antique silver, in the bezel and the connector, and also the bronze, there's not that high wall like you will see here. I mean, we're talking about a lip compared to a high wall, which is over here. As you can see. And I'm not centering any of these. But what's going to happen is once you put this in here, you put the glue on your bezel, you put your slice on there, and you put your crystal. What happens is the gapping between your bullet slice and the actual bezel, you're barely going to see it. You're not going to even notice. The bling of the crystal is going to take over. The shine of the bullet slice is going to take over. If anything, it just adds a nice little hollow backgrounding. So it creates like this nice darkening effect between the bullet slice and the actual bezel itself. So more than anything, it's just an accent.
So I think that's about all we have for the 9mm. That's 10 minutes of talking about than just one single bullet slice. So hopefully we've covered everything. I can't imagine we've missed much at this point. Click on the drop-down box in the description and we'll give you other videos on the 38s, the 45s, and the 40s. And I'm going to do a tutorial too today on updating on how you're actually going to cut them if you're doing them yourself. So check us out online at wholesalebulletjewelry.com and
shoot us an email if you have any questions at info@wholesalebulletjewelry.com or give us a call at 323-365-3327. We're happy to help you answer any of your questions.
Or stop by and see us in person
at Highland Ridge.